G'day everybody, and welcome to another modding stream, and it's been quite some time since I did one of these. The reason I'm back doing more of these creative mode builds and adding things to the scrapyard is because almost a year since I had hoped to do this, I'm finally in a position where Nev and myself think we should be able to run a supporter server with the scrapyard setup, which means I need to add a few things so there's a few more things to find, there's a bit more scrap, some new bits and pieces, make it feel a bit more fresh and different. But I'm also going to need to make some potential nasties. So there's going to be some stuff to do today. One of the things I thought I would start with now is just showing off a couple of things that I have sent to TFE to get him to add for me yesterday. Dragnon had sent me this. My brain is. I'm out there. This harvester, which I thought was pretty cool, and which I modernized a bit and added a bunch of the extra decorative blocks, added some extra detail to, and cleared out a bunch of the extra blocks that would have been useful for scrap. And then, yes, combine harvester. I don't know why combine wasn't coming to my brain just then, considering the number of times I said it yesterday. Then I took it, and I rusted it down, and wrecked it up, ready for the scrap heap. This is actually a pretty good find if you can find it. It does have a few large steel tubes in it because of the hinges and the rotors. Oh, the rotors have the small steel tubes, but it has steel tubes in it, which is kind of handy. And then there's this alternate version which can spawn on its own, or just the harvester part. And then also, this really cool little wheelbarrow that I was sent, and I cannot recall who sent that one in, but it is basically just a wheelbarrow. Ignore the remote control and the battery block. That's just because this needs to spawn on its own, and then those get deleted, so that's fine. Unfortunately, this server would not be Xbox friendly or console friendly because a lot of the mods that we use are PC only, sadly. Things like the improvised experimentation that allows you to manipulate blocks via the character's control, I think are kind of required for the scrapyard play. Thanks, Icelot. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Yes, it even has one wheel. A little wheelbarrow. And then, also this tractor I think that came from, I think this one came from Dragnon as well, that I've wrecked up and made ready for adding in, that's got a cultivator or plow cultivator attached to the back. So that one I think is going to be another good addition to the existing farm spawns. So the farm spawns won't just be the large grids and the fences. They'll also now occasionally have a combine or a tractor or a wheelbarrow, just a few extra little bits to tell a bit more of a story and feel a bit more fun. That is very strange, TFE, that your identity was stuck being the wrong thing. What I thought I'd start with today, though, is adding another aircraft. UFOL, back when I was just wrapping up the other series, sent me this plane, which is quite substantial, which means we should be able to break it into a few parts to have it spawn in a few bits, which is great. Yeah, actually, maybe a barn would be a good idea. Hang on. Oh, that's the other thing I need to do when doing these streams. I need to have my little notepad open. Of ideas so that I can note them down as you guys tell me things. Because TFE actually has the entire Scrapyard mod in his control now. All I've got in my version of the mod is a build ideas text file. We've got pipe junctions, pump house, shipping container, rusted train car, crane, power company truck, harvesters and farm equipment, which has kind of been done. Rusted out ship hull, crushed starter pod. I've got, I'll leave that as a maybe. Let's bring this across onto the screen so you guys can see it and make it big enough. This is the airliner body, so that'll be that plane that UFO made. Construction crane I can just delete because we've already got that. Isolate! Thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. I wonder if anyone's even... Oh, you got... And you got TFE with it as well. Thank you very much. Right. What was I doing? So yeah. The added idea I wanted to put was a barn. Because I wonder if we can make a good-looking barn. One of the things I was talking about with Nev when we were talking about setting up the server was the fact that with Scrapyard, there's a very strong tendency for people to pick either one of these hangars or one of these warehouses over here as their base. And I thought it might be nice to potentially provide a third or a fourth option. Because then, you know, we might have a bit more variability in where people make their base. And a barn might be something I could make that's a little bit smaller than these two, but still as a third option. Because I guess some people might use, arguably, one of these fuel stops. But yeah, there does feel like a very strong tendency to go towards the hangar or the warehouse as your base once you first find one of them. And I'd like to add some more variability to that if we can. Oh. Yeah. That's real strange. How did you get gifted one if you already have one, Chris? That's so strange. YouTube. Still does not understand how to do streaming. Alright, so plane. Plane is well, right? If you got other ideas and you think I can add, I'll just keep adding to them as we go along. So this is the airliner body. This thing is not really navigable in your suit, so I'm going to get spectator cam and we're going to have a bit of a look through it and see where it might be best to split. Obviously, I don't really want to give a grid that's going to have two large Atmo thrusters on it, unless it's quite rare, but whoops, no, wrong key. We'll see. Let's have a look inside, because UFOL has done a fairly detailed interior on this. As you can see with the lower deck, crates and storage and various bits and pieces down here. A couple of passenger seats, control panels up to here, which is, I believe, set up to be like a gunner's seat. Then we go up to the cockpit, which is not real chairs, it's all armor chairs, so that he can make it all more compact. Then down through here to the rear gunner's seat. So I think this will be great for splitting in half so that you can see all this detail, even though you can't actually move through it as a player. I think it is a little bit like a Catalina flying boat. Yeah, Tom? Quentin, the blocks that I named delete this block are named that way because MES has a function where you can specify the name of a block that you want deleted. And so any blocks that I want to have deleted on spawn, or shortly after spawn, I name delete this block. It's just part of the it's one of the functions that I've enabled in the Scrapyard setup. Wish there was a slice tool for SE that let you split a grid along a plane. I think Climb has a mod that does that. I feel like TFE will pop up saying, yes, that's true, in a second. But I feel like Climb has a mod that does that. It feels like the kind of mod that Climb makes. So what I think I might start with is cut one of the wings off, and then I'm going to snap the other one just this side of the engine, and then have it reattach it via a landing gear that's going to get deleted. that's not going to spawn with it. No, I'm not going to add a wreck variant of Skywarp. Definitely not. As mentioned, I am stingy with this. Intentionally so, because if I wasn't, then it'd kind of defeat the whole purpose of the mod and the setup. You've got to be super stingy, otherwise there's no feeling of progression. And I think that's where a lot of people trying to do things like this in the past have fallen down. Because you can't have the I must have a Bob mindset. If you're going to try and make a mod like this, you have to be a little bit harsh to make it work. Because this stuff is this is more game design than build design. There is a fine line between progression and grind, but I never said this was anything but a grindy way to play. It's a way to play for people who wanted something that was going to stretch out that period of progression that you get. Oh, I might snap this off too. Right, this is going to be fun to snap back together so that it drops. I'm going to need to... Oh, actually, this should be fairly easy. Because I can just do this. If I flip this around... Nope, that's a half block. That's annoying. What if I do this? And use one of them. That'll work. This, delete this block. Oops, put a space in there. No space, bad space. Cut that. And I'm going to paste it so that it locks to that landing gear. Cannot believe how happy you cannot understand how happy I was when Aragath taught me how to make a blueprint or a prefab that includes landing gear locked connected grids. Having that makes such an enormous difference to how I can build these things. Oops, pressed the wrong button. Okay, let's try that again. I'll drop this on there, and then I'm going to pick the whole thing up and flip it upside down so I can drop the other bit connected to... Oh no, the other bit has to be connected to the main grid as well. Nope. Try that again. Seriously? Will my face help it? Nope. Come on! How did I do it right the first time and now I can't get it to work? Oh! Fell just a little too quick. Try that again. Something like a battleship is just too big, I think. I feel like stuff like that just ends up being so large that if you find one of them, your search is over. There we go. That'll work. Now, what I had been thinking I would do was attach this little ski to it, but I think I'll just delete the ski and just have that flat. Oh yeah, wrecked bus. Oh yeah, just a slight detour. There's a bunch of stuff over here that I want to add in, or at least manipulate in order to add in. There are some buses that were sent to me. which are on the larger side, but I think are still probably fair enough as they are. But I might try and manipulate and try and shrink them down a little bit. But the concept of them is great. These buses I totally want to add. But also, something that I think has been asked for a long, long time is to add some trains. And as these trains are very nicely done, I think I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and add sections of rail like this. Where it's a combo small grid, large grid thing. So we can put this on it. Because obviously something this size is actually bigger as a footprint than those hangars, which means they're almost certainly going to stick out of the ground weirdly. So instead of having something like that, I think having something like these smaller sections that are mostly wrecked, but you can still tell are clearly from a railroad, are going to be perfect. But also I can convert something like the elevated highway section and put rails on it and put some rail cars on those too. Yeah, train cars and railroads do tend to be quite resilient, but they also tend to be very flat and very long, which is why I hesitated to put them in the past. I think, though, the fun of finding them outweighs the immersion-breaking weirdness of finding them on their own. Previously, when I thought about this, I'd been more of the opinion that the immersion-breaking was something I wanted to avoid. But I think I've come to do a full 180 on that, and I feel like immersion breaking is not a problem when it's fun. Like, one of the other ideas that I had was to have this full station in, but I've deleted the rails and then just have the rail cars spawn on top. But I think actually this style of smaller thing is far better for that. And yeah, maybe boats, but I think if I'm going to do that, I want something smaller like a dinghy, if there's going to be that. But also, we are planning on playing on a map type that boats might not... I don't think the planet we're going to have this server on would actually end up spawning boats, because I was thinking the boats should be only on or near an ice lake and have them as a voxel specific spawn. But yeah, back to the plane. After we've done the plane, I'll show some of the other things that I want to add as we go through and add them. So got the wing broken off. I need to grind down this side so that we've got clear rust coming through and all being broken down and rough and stuff. And then I'm going to put some rockets into this. Take out a few bits before I do that. And then I need to check what blocks this has before I say it's complete. So, one rocket. Let's put another one in here. Oh yeah. That opens her up nicely. Yeah. We got a wrecked John Deere harvester. And I can't remember what the type of tractor was supposed to be. It was another brand, but I don't actually know the brand. Want some slightly smaller holes here at the back. this gives enough... Oh, there's a warhead there. Let's get rid of that. Alright, what blocks are on this grid? We have access panels. We have a few programmable blocks. I'm going to need to get rid of some of them. Got a bunch of timer blocks, corner lights, custom turret controller, some decoys, event controllers, heat vents, medium cargo containers, some small batteries, small cargo containers, and button panels. Alright, there's nothing too bad, like too generous here. Just got to get rid of the glass. So I think this will look so much more believable as a wreck if all the glass is gone. Because I can get rid of the glass appearance without actually getting rid of all of the bulletproof glass. So there'll still be some to salvage from it. Bending stuff is something I do like to do, but it requires rebuilding it. Because you can't just bend things in Space Engineers, much as many of us would like to. So, like, if I was going to bend a section on this, I would have to actually rebuild it with angled parts and... yeah. I'm torn as to whether to put the time into that, or whether to put the time into making more grids. It's something I always find very difficult to decide. Yeah, it's already, even just this small change has made a big visual impact. Where are the other programmable blocks? They're down here? Oh, yep. There's a pair of them here. Oh, something else I changed yesterday with the Scrapyard mod was it now includes, by default, as it's a required thing, what's it called? A prerequisite? The Fool's colorable, textured build states. Because that gives us so many more options with having build states visible, because it's now not just rust and snow that can be applied. All other things can be applied. We can color things. We can do all sorts of stuff to make the build states more interesting. Yes, dependency. I got there eventually, TV. You okay, Charlie? You got a hairball. I think you've got a giant dice ball in your face. Can't move that one. He's lying upside down and just coughing. Glass is weird. Glass is not the sort of thing you expect to survive in an environment where there might be sandstorms. It's the sort of thing that you expect to break, and you'll see pieces of it, but a full glass pane is not the sort of thing I would expect to find on something that's gone through a crash and is a wreck. I'd expect to find fragments of glass, but an intact glass pane isn't necessarily what I'd expect to find. I missed a panel. I bet I missed a panel somewhere. And unfortunately, latency means you guys are not going to be able to tell me where unless you can locate it on the plane. There's the ones at the rear that I still haven't done yet. I've never come up with a good way to limit access to a wreck that doesn't involve combat. And so I've tended not to worry about, like, I tended not to attempt to make wrecks difficult to access per se. This one will be difficult to get parts out of, but I don't think it's got anything especially great in it. It's got some good components, like you'll have some good computers and whatnot in here. Should turn everything off though. Oops, not that. What? Oh, I can't turn... Wait, lights. Let's just turn the lights off. Turn these off. And we'll turn these. But yeah, there should be some good parts in this. Fairly happy with this as it is. Keep turning around because Charlie keeps coughing. I think she's just having trouble clearing her throat. She doesn't look uncomfortable. It's just like every now and then she's like. Probably doesn't help that it is currently 30.5 degrees inside my shed. Which is also why she's lying upside down. Okay, we got delete this blocks. Info. Now, just making the tags a bit easier to read. 01. Yeah, it's just a tad warm. Today is meant to reach 34 outside. And tomorrow is meant to reach 40 something. 35 outside today. And tomorrow is meant to hit above 40. So, I'm thinking after I wrap up this stream today, I'm gonna go and hunt for my GoPro. I can't remember where I put it after we went to PAX last year. Hunt for my GoPro and I'll set it up to look at the thermometer that I've got in my shed, so we can keep track of it during the stream tomorrow. Oh. It's weird being happy to see the troll ball unknown signal because it's got gyros. So, the fool, we're turning off unknown signals on the server. They're just going to be off by default. Because I'm a monster. But also because they tend to break, and Nev and I decided, well, if they're just going to break anyway, we may as well just get rid of them. And not have to deal with it. It's like... people can't complain about things that are turned off on purpose. Alright, this one, let's... Actually, you know what? Maybe I should just... You can just find a random wing. Missed a glass panel on the passenger. Did I? I don't see any glass panels. Remove the tail section entirely. Yeah, oh yeah, good call. Let's do that. This one. In fact, I'm going to split the tail section off, and the tail section can be its own spawn. I'm going to switch to rifle for this split. There we go. I don't know why the explosions are so weirdly anemic and don't really have any audio. Something weird is going on with this save. Although it sometimes seems to happen in AA when I'm doing thumbnails as well. In the thumbnail saves I've got. Alright. I think this can work. So we'll do this one as its own thing. Then we'll do, I think maybe even, if I cut this out, and we'll just delete all those little loose bits. So I don't want that. I do have to have some semblance of sense when it comes to how many grids and things, loose bits I've got, because we've already got a lot. So I'm thinking if I like landing gear this onto the main bit at that sort of angle, and then landing gear this one on at a different twist, could work. Do a version with the cockpit missing, yeah. And then I think I might also just have a wing that we can find. And then we can do just a short front section only, no wings, no anything else. Or just the rear section, I mean. A larger rear section, I mean. Get rid of these. Go away, go away. I've not been very good at cleaning up this build world, so I should probably start, given that I think it's occasionally dropping my sim speed, but not too bad. So the server, given it's me, the server will have no PvP. Everything is cooperative. Anyone doing any PvP will be banned, sort of stuff, because I just don't want that. And Scrapyard is just not set up for that. It's more, the world is meant to be so harsh that we want to work together. And Nev and I have come up with a few goals that we're going to do on, like, when I'm online, we will attempt those things, because then they'll be part of the series. And I'm planning on doing this as an edited thing, not a live thing as well. So there are a few different ways we can play that. And yeah, ammo's not easy to come by. I might need to see what TFA and I can do with regard to making ammo spawn in the loot table as a slightly more common thing. But we'll see how that plays. It's another one of those situations where it's good that I'm playtesting my own mod, because I get to see where it doesn't work and where it does. Demux, the short answer to that is yes, you can. And the long answer to that is yes, you can, but no, you shouldn't. No, you should not have it spawn at a height and then have warheads blow it up and then have pieces rain down. Performance-wise, that will be terrible. And so it's not something you want to be doing. So one of the things with the random small arms ammo that I think is included at the moment is that you're meant to desire the basic assembler so that you can break that stuff down and convert it into something more useful for you. Ooh. This. I could flip over. And I can cut this off. And this one I can landing gear to it because the wing is going to be the main grid. I can chuck a mag plate on here. I tend to prefer to use the small one just in case they don't get deleted, because sometimes these things break. Even though arguably it'd be easier to get it to snap, to stick in this right. Oh! Dang it! Why did I do that? This is going to be another one of these situations where I got it right the first time and I'm not going to get it right again. That was so good. That was perfectly locked. And I forgot to press Control-Alt-C to copy it. Nope. Hey, there we go. I think Control-Alt-C should copy the whole thing. Yeah, sweet. Much better for performance to do all the explosions, damage, etc. before spawning. Yes, indeed. And yes, there are basic assemblers on the... Oh. Well, locked again. That's fine. That's weird. I didn't realize it would unlock itself as soon as it spawned in. But it's locked. Cool. Let's get this out a bit. Rusty, bit good. Ah, yeah, the cranes do... There is a version of the crane that has a basic assembler. So the way that I want to run this server is a little bit light roleplay, sort of the level of roleplay that TFE, Capac, and myself do in Assertive Acquisitions. Nothing like, this is my character, this is my backstory, just... I'm an engineer, I'm here, I don't know why, but I'm here, let's see what we can do. And the goal will be to do an Armageddon-style large group launch of ships from the one place that you can get fuel on the planet. Or one of the two places you can. That's the long-term goal. So all of us building our own ships and all of us coming on and launching them at the same time in some epic thing. Because I'm actually going to, for the server, I think, I'm going to blacklist all the space spawns, so there'll be nothing to find in space anyway. So if people go up there early, it doesn't actually get them anything. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of it being a training planet too. We're all trying to graduate at the same time. Alright, I think that'll do for a wing. Pretty obvious that it's a wing. Grab one of the little remote control things. I mean, yeah, we would have asteroids off as well, Fool. That was something that Nev and I talked about too. No asteroids. Yeah. All the rules will be made much clearer when I actually write out the instructions and stuff. And the rules will only be in aid of making it fun for everybody and making it fun for the people watching the videos as well. That's my entire goal. Alright, now. Let's see how well I do landing gear this thing. Landing gear this gearing. Landing gearing? This thing together. Oh yeah, and just like the Valheim server, this will have limited time per week that's about the same time that I get to record per week. So that, one, it means more people can get onto the server and play at all, because that way we don't have to have massively high server limits to allow everyone to get on. But two, it means no one... This is my preferred example. No one gets to have the really fancy dinosaur before I've even figured out how to build a basic hut. This is a cool looking plane, 100%. Ufol's technique at this scale is something special. Full credit to the man. Yeah. Especially that he built custom block-based cockpits just so that he could keep the scale right. Ufol, or depending on the platform, sometimes known as the Beer Seeker, is what he goes by. He's actually built nearly all of the aircraft that are in the Scrapyard mod. The only other one is the one, these two from Jexam. So Jexam made these two. All these helicopters and this plane were made by Ufol. He's nailed the scale, which is the most important part. And I do like that there are a couple of, let's say, a couple of nods to other series in the Scrapyard. So far we've got nods to Wrong Way Up. Well, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Nods to Wrong Way... What other ones? I had some nods to other things in here. That still didn't work. Oh, maybe it did. Yes, it did. There was something else that I had a nod to that I noticed yesterday when I was looking around. Nuts. What was it? Oh, yeah, there's two nods to Wrong Way Up. Because there's the Jalopy, the truck that I built for the intro that Capac threw off a cliff. And then there's Jex's planes. So yeah, a couple of nods to Wrong Way Up. Which somewhat surprises me. I wouldn't have thought a stream series would be the series I'd end up putting nods to all over the place. Bit of a hissing noise coming through. Oh, is that intermittent? Is it like every now and then there's a... Because there are cicadas. It's hot. And my shed is open. Oh yes, there's some scavenger hunt stuff too. True. Good point. Good point, Edric. This build is vanilla, yeah. Oh. Will I get this to snap? Come on, lock for me. Come on, lock. Yeah! There we go. Now the balance is weird, you know it's locked. Yeah, Alberto, one of the things that I want to do with this update, and we made a list, I might put them in this notepad file as well. I need to add DLC solar panels, add DLC wind turbines, and add flatmos. So we need to get all the... Those blocks need to be added in, so I need to find some places I can put them in. This will do some weird stuff when it spawns, potentially. I might want to cut this wing off and rotate it around, but it should be okay. We'll see. Let's see. Control, Alt, C. So the height that this would spawn at would probably be about here. And then the landing gear will get deleted. And the other landing gear will get deleted. Looks a bit weird. Not sure how I feel about it. Oh yeah. The flat nose might work really well as a tail rotor on the smaller chopper as well. But I'm thinking more like what Christina's saying, using them as extractor fans on warehouses, putting them in places you don't think of as a thruster, but you're thinking of it as a fan. Do I hate this? Or am I okay with this weird way that this wreck is? I think I'm okay with it. I think I'm okay with it. Right. I need to grab one of these. And then clear out what blocks I need to. And then I think I'm happy with the plane. I think that's enough variance for it with having 4 different spawns for it. As I get more other stuff, I can go back and add extras to these other things to add more variants of them, but I think making 12 different variants of the plane instead of making 3 different variants of 4 different things is the wrong way to go, and it is a thing I did in the early days of ACS and making it. I tended to make lots of variants of one model instead of making more models with fewer variants, and you definitely get more out of the more models. Someone in Discord went out of their way to restore one of those danger zones. It was neat to see. Yeah, it's genuinely cool seeing the stuff people do with the wrecks. Completely agree, Jax. Alright. Let's rough up some of this armor. We got a few chunks missing. The other thing that gets a bit weird with the lots of variants of one grid is then you tend to see a lot of that grid with the way that I've chosen to get these spawned in. Because you effectively then have more of that grid relative to the other grids that are potentially going to spawn. By and large, I've tried to limit that being a problem, but it is still a problem with some things. There are certain grids like the Flatliner, which is just... I designed it specifically to be a common thing, because it's such a useful platform for putting specific blocks on that I'm like, well, this is a way I can add this block. And you just chuck it on the flat bed. That's easy. Oh, there goes one of the cicadas being real loud. Been trying to record the new tutorials that I've been working on. As I've got one of them recorded. I went to listen to one of the recordings I did, and the cicadas and the birds were so loud I had to wait till that night to re-record the whole thing because the audio was just messed up by it. I'm less worried about that with streams, but with what's effectively a flagship video like a tutorial, I'm like, no, I have to get this right. Will ping be a big problem? People didn't seem to find it too bad because of the slower pace of Scrapyard and the lack of combat. From what I heard, people weren't finding it too horrible. There's no I don't think anything's got a round beacon. And you probably won't be using beacons anyway, except for the specific beacon that Nev has added as a mod, which he made. This beacon prevents your stuff from being cleaned up. So basically, it's your stuff protector, and you'll have one of those at your base and one of those on your vehicle. And that's it. You're limited to just the two. So those will be the only beacons that you'll really worry about. Here we go, Jax. I can see what my freedom units are. I can change over to freedom units. In freedom units, I'm at 50% humidity and 88.5 in my shed. And yeah, large grid blocks are not that well represented because it's kind of a small grid playstyle. Okay, that's got... So I've just got to name these grids and put one of the remote controls on this back end. I think it should lose most of its glass altogether. I have no idea if this server is even going to work. We did do a test last year, which seemed to perform okay. But it is entirely possible that this server is a pipe dream and the hardware required to run something like this is just not financially feasible, but I want to give it a go anyway. Alright. Let's go grab the thing, and then I'll name these, and that's it. Yeah, if it's inside the base beacon, it doesn't get cleaned up, so you just need that thing. Nev's going to make the beacons cheaper as well, so that you can afford to build one relatively early on. So, it's just one of these things, there needs to be aggressive cleanup for this to even have the faintest hope of having the server survive. More than a day. Or even a day. I presume Nev's made it so you don't have to find those beacons, because you will need to just build it, because otherwise I'd have to have it in the wreckage. What? Oh, what? I just copied that. What are you doing to this to me game? It's so weird. No. What? What? Every time I hit control, it's just deselecting it. What is going on? What? I got some weird thing on my keyboard doing this? No? I don't think so. Seen this happen before. I'm trying to remember whether I did anything to fix it or whether it just fixed itself. I think this might be a restart Space Engineer situation. Thanks. Short answer to that, not a bot, is no. No, it cannot. Space Engineers is pretty rough on server hardware in general, particularly CPU, because it's so physics intensive. It's the kind of the nature of physics-based games. I might fill up Charlie's water bottle while I'm filling up my own. That'll help you cough. All right. Oh yeah, there we go. Nev has explained how the scrap beacons work. They project a cleanup protection zone around them, so anything inside that zone is safe. That's why you only get two, one for your base, one for your main vehicle. But you can have more vehicles than that if you want to, you just need to make sure to park them at your base when you log out. Well, Takari, that's why you have a protection thing for your vehicle as well as your base, not just your base. So if you run out of time while you're out and about, you'll still fine. There we go. I can copy again. Yay. Info. Paste. Info. Paste. And last one. I'll export these and I'll send them to TFE after the stream. So, Control, Alt, C. F11, export. F11, export. Control, oh, I need to make sure I get the correct grid. Control, Alt, C. 11 and export, and one more. Oh wait, no, this needs a Control Alt C as well. It's got a bit underneath it. Export, cool. Plane added. No, economy is 100% absolutely not turned on. Economy, very broken. Cannot balance that with the scrapyard mechanics. Okay, plane's done. I think let's have a look at the buildings and see if I can get a few of these buildings in. And then we'll move on to the trains after that. Trains and the buses. Maybe a couple of these little rovers, actually. Add a couple of new cars in, I suppose. Maybe. Oh yeah, this is what the wheelbarrow looks like without the remote and stuff on it, which is a very clever little build with the shovel on it and everything. Celestial bodies did get axe checks. I just didn't delete it. These are things I'm looking at for ideas, not necessarily something that's going to make it in. Because while I like this van for the power van, it's got a lot of extra blocks in it and it's fully functional and stuff, so it's a bit beyond what I want for the scrapyard. And this whale-shaped food truck, I need to do some things to change it up because it feels weird to me that the food is being served over the wheels and you can't actually reach the people serving you the food. I'm not sure why this wouldn't have worked with a planet with water areas on it. I mean, some of this stuff would have spawned underwater. That would have been the worst of it, I would have thought. So this is... There have been quite a few fuel stops sent in. This is one of them. Which I like the large grid stuff of it. I think I will get rid of the small grid bit here, despite the detail looking interesting. It's done in a way that will cause performance problems and is why I've stopped doing things that way. Yeah, I used to stream on YouTube quite regularly thanks to The Office not stably streaming to Twitch. And then I reduced the number of streams that I was doing, so I just streamed to Twitch for a while, and instead of streaming this sort of mod building stuff to Twitch, where it's a more niche topic, let's say, I thought I'd just put it straight to YouTube, and then I don't have to worry about remembering to upload it either. So, this little house, I think, let's add it as another house variant. So the first thing to do is remove the snow. It's pretty easy, because we can just go grab our paint gun and go with concrete and go that, and press Shift R. Then I'm thinking this might be a good old option to put the big turbine on. Like so. Yeah, Jax, the hangar footprint is a lot smaller than it seems. I did it as small as I could possibly do. It's still pretty big. Okay, let's have a look inside this house. I'm gonna obviously have to rust this thing up and change it because it's all very freshly painted. But it's got a nice little kitchen area. Could possibly... I mean, I'll probably get rid of the vent altogether and replace some of these with armor panels rather than interior. Other than these panels. Yeah, it's a nice little compact build with a good interior design. There you go. Half open door. So, replacing the paint. Let's start with that. And we'll go white and heavy rust. And then I think what I should do as well is replace some of these blocks as slopes. So it's a bit better of a transition to the surrounding terrain. Honestly, the Fool, you probably could make abandoned settlements play okay with Scrapyard, but it's super aggressive in terms of both its loot yield and the danger it presents to the player. So it would take a lot of tweaking. Which ultimately, in my situation, tends to lead me to go, well, I'll just make my own. I'll just stick to what I've got. Just keep expanding that instead. Because I think the workload would be just as substantial as just building what I'm doing. Hopefully this will be more inclined to sit nicely in the terrain, although I may have just removed some of the attachment points for some blocks. Not sure. Yeah, if people want the challenge of abandoned settlements, they can add them themselves. Not something I'm interested in doing. Something's changed with me recently. I've just been pushing more and more toward, I've been pushing further and further away from combat. Oh, the full wooden build states for buildings. Ah, epic. Hadn't even thought about using it as wooden framing. In fact, I think I know what I want to do with this roof line now. Need to change it over to these blocks. It has absolutely... Like, it absolutely does, Nev. It looks better than the finished block. But if I do some of this in corrugated and then do the rest in wood frames, it'll look like the roof blew off. Oh, that opens up so many options for so many things. Oops, too far. Look at that. Yes. That's very cool. Does make me maybe want to do it in panels instead, but I think it's worked well enough. Yes, that was the undo mod you just saw. I try and add it to all my creative mode worlds these days, because it is super, 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 super handy. Look how that will look. A little bit of an eave on it. Eh. Is this live? Live-ish. Probably 10 seconds behind. It's YouTube. It's got more of a delay, a stream delay than Twitch does. But it's usable. It also saves me the effort of having to upload the VOD afterwards, which is nice. Oh yeah, and better video quality on YouTube, 100%. I am currently streaming at 15 megabits per second. In 1440p, although I'm not sure you guys can watch in 1440. Or can you? You can. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can watch in it. I think, though, weirdly, if you're watching after the fact, before it does the full processing of the VOD, you can only watch in 1080p for a while. Although that might be a Premiere thing. I can't remember. One of them forces you to watch in lower initially. Yeah, I like this little house. So what fancy blocks does it have that I need to be stingy and get rid of? Do I have batteries on these other houses? Also, that. Do these have batteries? I think I got rid of the batteries on a lot of these. I could leave it with a battery. It's the only one with it. It's a bit of a tricky one to get out because it'll be on the ground. Yeah. I only know one level of stingy, and that is too stingy. Got the twin blade turbine. Oh, no, there are 2 batteries on this. Where's the other battery? Huh? Where's the other battery? That could even be on this. Oh, they're both there. Okay, so there are 2. It is under here. Alright. Yep. Around block back. This is only YouTube. I don't like the idea of streaming to 2 platforms at the same time. Splitting chat and trying to pay attention to both chats. Yeah, no thanks. I'll pass on that. So if I'm streaming on one platform, that's where I am. Stuff is in a vent. Few motors. Alright. Might try and replace this vent with the more modern one. Where is vent? I thought I had vent. Oh, there it is. So I think the fan looks better when it's ground down. Yeah. No. Oh, actually. Probably just get rid of this altogether. I get rid of that one on the outside, and I just put the one on the outside. I think with it ground down, it should look pretty decent. I was thinking about a flat mode. Oh, let's have a look. Why not? I think I've got them on my hotbar anyway. No, not hydrogen. Atmo. Yeah, I think I might get rid of the... I think for this one, because we got the wind turbine and battery to also give it a thruster makes it feel like more than I want to give it. There we go. And that actually looks better anyway, in my opinion. I'm Micah, I'm very glad that so many people have enjoyed playing the game this way, because it's a tough way to play the game. but it's a slow way to play the game. But to me, it's or to anyone who's played a lot, I think having that slower progression is quite nice. I'm gonna just rot the leather away. Oh yeah. All right, cool. I think this house is good. Cedric, I don't have enough block space to do that. To put corrugated textured armor panels on top of the roof, that'd have to be a separate grid, and I don't think I'd gain enough for it. Patrick, ugh, that's ew. That, no. If people want to support what I do, I want that to be a completely voluntary thing. Because they can get around ads on YouTube and Twitch by having YouTube Premium or having a sub. And that's up to them. Yeah. Having said that, there will be people who will bring up the conversation that happened in Discord earlier, given Twitch's new Partner Plus changes that they've introduced overnight. Because I'm now, according to the new levels, such a teensy tiny margin away from that. Thanks, Crunchy. That's a going. See? There you go. That's much preferred over attacks. But since I'm on YouTube, I don't have to worry about that right now, because YouTube has YouTube's default split is as good as Twitch's you can get this if you get enough subs thing. I think this is the correct one to copy. Yes. I have 2 of these. Oh, that's the dummy grid. Okay. Probably should just be able to place just a remote on this, actually. There. What's this grid called? So then I can export this one too. In general, the scrapyard setup is not meant to be combat focused. The idea would be, if you wanted, like I think the Four was saying they did this earlier, or Edric, I can't remember who now, but basically once they reached a certain level in the scrapyard where they had a lot of equipment, then they started adding hostile mods and things that were a bit nastier, and then you can go and just progress from there. So I think the optimal way for the majority to play is going to be play scrapyard, get to the point where you're like, yeah, I've ground enough, I've gotten far enough, and then remove some of the scrapyard stuff and add in other stuff and just keep playing more vanilla after that point. Because the scrapyard setup is entirely set up with the intent of extending out that progression part of Space Engineers in a way that hopefully is fun. I'm just going to call this A cabin because it's not an Arctic cabin anymore. I'll call it cabin A, actually. Cabin A. Okay. Oh, yep. These will absolutely be added to the regular mod. Thankfully, TFE is helping me out with that and sorting that side of things out as I send him grids to add in. These will definitely be in by the time the server goes live, and they'll be... The version we're using on the server is the public version, so anything I add for the server is added for everybody to play. Cool. Is there another cabin or house over here that I wanted to add? Thank you, Acts of Random Kindness. Thanks for the $4.99. Thank you very much. Fitting name. Sunny Dave's Bar and Grill. Wonder. Which spawn group would I put this in? I don't feel like I need to do much to this one. It's got a battery. What else does it have? Battery, some lockers. Yeah, there's not much that's super amazing here. Don't think these vents are have too many components left in them. No, they don't. Yeah, I could probably just take this one exactly as it is. Although, there is something I do want to do. Sorry, but I'm losing the LCD. And hoping I can put these windows on the underside. Because then I'm going to make the sign out of non-LCD. I'm just going to put SD on it. Unless anyone knows a reason why that would be a bad thing to write. Oh, this is one of yours, full. Nice. Huh? Why are you not changing to heavy rust? Alright, so what I was thinking of doing was this. Bam, bam, bam. And where are my letters at? You need to have something to support the letters on. Just wondering, I think something different might work better as a backing though. Either the half height plate. I'll put down one of them and we'll see. The half height plate, or where do I have catwalks anywhere here? Old school catwalk. the cross made it a little difficult to read, but I'm thinking these horizontals might actually work quite well. What do you guys think? Half height or catwalks? Both the half height has the similar, just plain horizontal bars. It's just got that one vertical added extra. So what's the build state of these look like? I don't think they leave enough space. Like, yeah, that's more complex. I'm not convinced that any of the neons are gonna work, because they'll be too tall, and there's no half-height neon. Ooh, unless, actually, you're right, the neons could work perfectly. Hang on. That. We go that. Eh. That, and then where's the middle one? Yes. There we go. That sells it the best, I reckon. Yeah. And just because it's been suggested in chat and I am curious for future things I do like this, how do railings work for it? So railings aren't a bad option either. Looks a little less supported, like this looks more what we'd see today. That doesn't look too bad either. Has anyone used neon for its stated purpose? I have not ever used neon for its stated purpose. I don't think. I'm sure there's one example where I have, but it's incredibly rare. Yeah, I like this. I'm happy with the LCD inside, I just didn't want the big LCD outside. Yeah. One battery. Nice little base. Let's copy this over. And go into the same group of builds. Or do I want to start having, like, township? Maybe I need to come up with... Maybe I need a new spawn group that is town buildings, so that this doesn't spawn on its own and it'll spawn with, like, a couple of houses and things. Which could be a very lucrative place for batteries. Or wind turbines if I do that. I've used them as cables, I've used them as supports. That's my primary usage of them. I didn't use them for much else. I don't tend to build in the style that suits neon all that often. Actually, no. I did use them as neon in Survival Unlikely. I did. But it's very rare that I do that. And I actually don't remember whether I placed them or Catback did. Yeah, I'm thinking if I create... I might create a group of blocks like these that are town ones. And they'll have... And those will have fewer batteries so that when they spawn together. But these ones tend to spawn on their own. And I think a bar out of the middle of nowhere that looks like this is probably okay. Remote. Where shall I slap the remote? Oh, underneath. Maybe it will let me. Yeah, go under here. I have to make a dollar store, can't escape them. Perhaps. Control. Info. VC-SY. Sunny Daves. Sport. Cool. How far have we gotten? We've done 2 houses and the plane. What is progress so far? What else have we got that I might want to work on? I think I might work on the buses next if I don't see anything that tickles my fancy. The trains, I think I might dedicate a whole stream to just doing the trains. Because who doesn't love trains? Maybe we could do this church, actually. Another township style building. I really like that. I feel bad that I can't remember who submitted all of these builds, but I really like that this one has the collapsed roof in a similar style to what I've done elsewhere. It's quite painful putting those bits in as details. Oh, and it just has lockers and an offset door. I don't think I need to do anything to this. Other than add the remote and battery that get deleted. Damsels in distress don't like trains. Can't argue there. Weird. Oops. Now I need brackets. NPC-SY. Old church. Nice. I was thinking about it yesterday. I think one of the reasons that the hangar is such a popular base location is because it's got a fully welded up platform that it's built on. So I'm hoping things like the church there with its platform people might end up using it as well. I'm not sure Splitsville. Actually, I don't think Splits anything sounds great since it's been used so much as a breakup name of sorts. Kind of want to include one of these in the industrial bit, or maybe both of them. Did I add a grid grinder? Seems unlikely. I actually don't think I have. No. Do I? They're not. Doesn't one of the warehouses, doesn't one of the hangars have a welder and one of them have a grinder? Or were they both welders? Or is it just the one with the welder? This one? This one? Oh, it's just the one with the welder, isn't it? Yeah. Grinder on one of the truck beds. Perhaps? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm gonna have to make another truck that's carrying solar panels, but it's carrying the DLC ones. What am I doing? Who am I? I was going to add... Oh, actually, I think this... I'm tempted to cut off the front bit that... I like the front bit. It's quite well designed. Dang it. Alright, I'll deal with that later. Actually, I'll deal with this now. I'm doing the gas station. Why not? Use your other name, Flipsy Flats. Oh, feels weird calling it a gas station. Petrol station. Right, let's get rid of this bit. That needs to go. I don't think losing that has a significant impact on the grid. How cool it looks. Honestly, I don't think there's even a... I don't think there is a med bay of either type in this. Did I remove them from the build list? I don't even remember. I should probably have a look at the build list, the block build list, and see what's there. Oh yeah, this doesn't need much change either. Except maybe... Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave the being kind of generous on the large steel tubes a bit. Not quite that generous, but oh, more generous than that. There we go. But yeah, that's kind of the nice loot of this one, is that you get the large steel tubes. Yeah. Cool. Alright, need to add the thing to this, the remote and battery. Yep. Large steel tubes are one of those progression gates that I wanted to keep. Where you're like, oh, I need large steel tubes. Okay, I'm going to have to go out and hunt specifically for large steel tubes. Oh, I need power cells. I'm going to have to specifically go out for them. That was kind of my thinking, was that over time, the particular components you're looking for change and shift, and that's part of that feeling of progression that grows as you play. Okay, that's good info. Might just name this the same as these ones are named. Different style, but should go into the same group. Apologies to anyone who submitted these builds and I've forgotten who made them. I do feel bad about that. I also struggled to look through the list on Discord to figure out who made what. But this is very cool. I really like this one. Survival kits and cryopods are not really that rare in Scrapyard. I think I did that on purpose. The cryopods are how you can get some extra medical components to build up the survival kits that you find. And I did that because losing your one survival kit because you've kept it on your mobile grid sucks. And would be unfun. So I wanted to avoid that. Get rid of that. This one too, and there was... yeah, that one. Just clean up some of these things that I've added. Make it a bit easier to see what's still to go. Fox, the Scrapyard submissions never closed. However, I did them differently. Oh, why does it do that? The Scrapyard submissions, I tried to make it more clear that if it doesn't fit, if it doesn't suit, I'm just going to move on from it. I'm not even going to add it if it's not to what I was aiming for. Whereas with the ACS, I tried to make every build and adapt it to what I wanted, which was too slow a process. Yeah, broken down military infrastructure is something I've avoided because broken down military infrastructure is the sort of thing people build with heavy grid, with heavy armor, and that means tons of grids, super rich, and a bit of a pain. And, like, I've got this quite nice looking tank here, but I don't really want to add tanks. The closest to a military vehicle that's in there right now is this one little vehicle here. That's it. Nothing else is military in focus. Just because I want civilian stuff. Yep. I think I've got the replacer mod on this. Yeah, I do. The Humvees are in here, but I kind of saw them more as just what I would call a ute and what Americans would call a pickup. Because they don't have any armament. They were just a long wheelbase vehicle that you could find. I reckon we could maybe look at modifying this little guy over here. There's another industrial building to go in. Yeah, large tubes are very much intended as a limiter. That's as per design, which I know annoys some people, but that's how it is. It's how I am. It's not something I'm likely to change. For this, I'm going to get rid of these guys, because while there is something cool about the atmosphere of adding sparks and things like that, that's also not a desired thing. Because these are meant to have been sitting here idle as scrap for a long time. So I've tended to avoid things that spew smoke as much as I can. There's a limit to how much I can do that, because some blocks, even when ground down, do it. But as a general rule, I've been... no smoke and sparks and stuff. Or fire. So I was hoping this might be a place that people could turn into a base as well. At least an initial base and then expand upon it. It's got a nice little workshop vibe to it. We're going to grind that down to less stock. I can have a little bit more stock. There. Yeah, small cargo container. Someone mentioned before about how much loot there was in like cargo containers and having it more varied. It's random. The components that are in there are something I could probably change without too much trouble. I honestly can't recall what's in there though. Doesn't help. It's been so long since I messed with this that I can't remember what a lot of the things are. Small cargo container, wind turbine. I think that's a pretty decent haul to make this into your first base. I don't think I need to change too much with this or anything. Oh yeah, as Nev said, there's on the Discord, there is this channel down in my shed because I created a new organization thing where you can submit stuff and I may or may not add it. If it fits the style that I've built stuff in, there's a very high chance it'll be added. The door too generous? Nah. I think you can build doors. I don't think I stopped you from building doors. I don't think I had a reason to stop you from building doors. Also, doors are really awkward to move. I think that was the reason I didn't. Certain blocks are very, very painful to merge block down and adapt, so I didn't block those. Alrighty. Garage. I think I've got more than one garage. Let's see. I'll look at my entity list. It should show up if there is one. Yeah. Nope, there's just the one, looks like. Okay. I'm going to name this with a number, though, in case there are more garages later. Export that one. Cool. Next thing I'm wondering is, will I remember which categories I intended these to be put in? Oh well, no biggie if I don't. Right. So that's this one added. Oh. Oh yeah, I forgot. This one might need a vehicle inside it. Ooh. Do I have a vehicle always inside it? Or do I have TFE do a manual? I think I might just add a specific vehicle in there. We'll go with this. This is someone else's spawn rover. I'm going to grind this thing down quite aggressively, and I'm going to manually add one. It's quite a tight building, so I think it'd be quite annoying to get this to be a space where a vehicle spawns and doesn't explode. To do that, I'm gonna need to remove put a landing gear down. Alright. Let's get to grinding things off. Alright, what else does... Oh, that needs to go to Rusty. No, not concrete. What did I do concrete? Oh, also... Concrete doesn't... Okay, the small grid thing doesn't have concrete texture? Heavy rest. This is going to be quite the great catch if you find it, but I'm going to remove its wheels just to make it less so. Here we go. Yeah. Make light in the way. Oh no! I had a feeling that might happen. How far across am I going to have this so that it doesn't fall in the pit? At least until the mag plate. Have I broken the mag plate? I think I have. Yes. That would be why it didn't lock. Oh, I ground it down, did I? Whoops. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, see, there's some blocks that do smoke even when they're ground down rather than shot. Or damaged. I think that might be the hydrogen tank here that's smoking. I'm not aware of any way of manipulating the build state of a block without using a grinder when you're not, like, if you're spawning it through MES, there is a way to, like, set things to have randomly reduced build states, but I'm not sure of any way to do that, mod or otherwise, in the regular game. Okay, let's see, have I left anywhere to interact with this thing? Got a bunch of small batteries on it. Now it's got a few less. Yeah, I think that's otherwise okay for people to have. Survival kit, a few components and bits and pieces and stuff. But yeah, there's no way that I can do it while I'm playing, which it'd be really nice to have an easier way to switch between place the full block and place the first build state, at least. I think Climb might have a creative mode switch mod, which I haven't tested out before, which may work okay in my use case, but I'm not sure. Okay. Alright, now I have to rename that mag plate to get it deleted. And then I have to go to my export folder and delete the other one. It's just called Garage 01. NPC SY Garage 01. Delete that. And then Control Alt C. Export. Sweet. The closest thing, as Nev pointed out, to a campsite with a long dead engineer is the camper with a campsite, which I'm still really proud of how it turned out. I love this little thing. It spawns with little chairs around it. There's a pair of chairs that spawn outside this camper with a solar panel as its awning. I am genuinely chuffed with how that one looks. And it works. Like, those chairs do spawn and function. Well, they don't function as chairs, but they appear and sit there. Plus with the little bed with the plushie on it. That's definitely one of my favoured. And then I did add another one of these little Jeeps yesterday with its loose wheel attached by that landing gear that'll get deleted. Just to make some of the wreck scenes a little more interesting. Alright. That's pretty good. Let's do these two now. I've already got the industrial group that these can be added to. The solar panel kept me going until I found my first turbine. Yep. The reason for the remote control block is it's required for MES to be able to spawn these grids. And for the grids to have any behaviors, which they need to have, so that they can delete the blocks that I don't want there. So those are there to get the grid to come into existence, and once the grid is in existence and they've done what they need to do, they then delete themselves. And getting them to delete themselves was an interesting challenge when I had to do it initially. They didn't really like deleting themselves together. Because you need a power source to the remote control for the behavior to be active. So if you delete the battery first, the remote doesn't get deleted. If you delete the remote first, the behaviors deactivate, so the battery wouldn't delete. And it got interesting. What do you got in you? A little bit less now. Oh, do these have a ton of... Yes. Oof, that's a lot of large steel tubes. Yeah, sometimes things won't get deleted properly, but it is what it is. I'm very much of a mindset of it works well enough. Hey, Stefan. I don't really like the positioning of this engine. I'm going to continue this because it looked kind of weird that this heavy support frame didn't actually continue. To me, anyway. I don't mind the idea of this having an engine, because I don't know how... Engines are a nice way for players to get a few, if I leave them intact enough, a few of the power cells. Because when you grind down engines, the power cells that are in them do not get destroyed. It's a nice little way to start collecting them. Oh man. I just remembered, I'm pretty sure I've got Nev's block picking mod in this. I really need to remember what the key combo is for that and start using it, because I just wanted to grab one of these. Yeah, I was tossing up whether to put it here or whether to put it between the supports. it is Control G. Sweet. Thank you. Oh, it's such a pity. I have to leave this intact in order to leave the power cell in it. I'm going to leave the power cell in it. Leave the power cell in that one. This one's predominantly for large steel tubes. Let's go put the remote and battery on those two. The industrial buildings are particularly valuable ones to have extra grids for, because they're another one of those clusters that spawn. So you end up having a whole bunch of these in one area. So the more variety I have of that style of building, the more likely it is that each cluster is going to be completely different. I don't know what the blast door block beside the engine is supposed to be, but I thought it looked nice, so I continued on with the idea. Thought it kind of worked. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's why I need to switch over to the survival switch mode, because I can then just have the cells in my inventory and weld them in. I've talked about doing that too. In fact, I feel like I might have a grid over here that has some of those blocks ready to go for me. Yes, I do. Aha! Ha 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 ha! I made these up ages ago. There we go. And power cell. In fact, I'm going to put it in the other one as well. Feeling generous for some reason. Yeah. How are subgrids for builds? Depends what they're achieving. The more a subgrid is achieving, the more likely I am to leave it. It's a balance. I don't really have a clear threshold for what I consider to be worth it and not worth it. Certain builds, I'm like, yeah, this is important. This makes the build work, and it's a build that I really, really want to see. Other ones, I'm like, yeah, that's the performance cost of that to the style benefit. That ratio doesn't work for me. Yeah, I do have power efficiency modules over here with a power cell in them. Also the programmable blocks with like missing core parts. Same with various missing bits from a small cargo container. I prepped a few blocks and solar panels too, with just a couple of solar cells in them. They were the common parts that I was wanting to add a couple of components separately at the time. I think one of these has an upgrade module in it that I used with that. Yeah, here we go. See? Oh no, this one doesn't have it. Maybe I should replace that one with one that does. That's going to be tricky inside there though, so I'm not going to bother. It's just going to be hard. Alright. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up this stream here, because that's actually some pretty solid progress. And the reason, one of the big reasons I decided to live stream this is that I actually get more done. If I was just doing this on my own, I would not make this much progress. I make so much more progress when I stream this, which is why I want to get back to doing some streams of the mods and adding bits and pieces, especially given I want to make a series out of the Scrapyard. I want to make sure that the Scrapyard's got as many different cool bits in it as I can. So keep an eye out on the Discord and make sure you've signed up for the what did I call it? Ring that bell group so that you'll get pinged whenever I go live. So that we don't have to rely on Twitch or YouTube to remember to send notifications. But yeah, I will be back tomorrow morning at the usual time over on Twitch. And I am almost certainly going to be playing Enshrouded tomorrow. But then we'll be playing Enshrouded again on Tuesday with Capac and TFE. But I think I'm going to play some solo tomorrow and have my own little solo save going. But then I'll be back to Underground Alone the following week. If I'm enjoying it solo as well, I might alternate Underground Alone and it. But we'll see. But yeah, tomorrow I'm going to play some Enshrouded. So there's all that. And plenty more to come. And I will see you then. Discord details are discord.gg/zebramonkeys. It's nice and easy. See you, everyone. Bye.